Gannon, and I'm very honored to be the Morris County Sheriff. Thank you for joining us today, a very special day for the Morris County Sheriff's Office and all of our residents of Morris County and beyond. We are very proud to announce the opening of our Hope Wing, our modern curriculum known as A New Direction. Our curriculum was named by the inmate population here at the Morris County Correctional Facility. This program will foster recovery to inmates dealing with addiction. The new Hope Wing is designed to help inmates address their addiction through a number of daily programs. These programs include relapse prevention, anger management education, spirituality, relationship development, and peer-to-peer counseling. Opioid abuse has reached an alarming level in Morris County. Year to date, 62 of our residents have died. In comparison to this time last year, we had 37 dead. So we're trending at a 68% increase. The Hope Wing serves as one of the many components in place this year to do a lot of things to help those in need and also to reduce the rate of recidivism. These inmates in this facility will leave here someday. You know, we project that we'll have about 2,900 inmates come through our door this year. Our average stay at the Morris County Correctional Facility has dropped. Last year, our average stay was 32 days. In quarter one of this year, our average stay was 6 days. In quarter two, it was 11 days. So we have a lot of work to do in a short period of time. We have a great opportunity to help these folks on their transition back into society. You will hear from a CARES representative, Mellie Runyon, today, speaking about our partnership with CARES on aftercare support services. But we also need to help these folks transition back into the community with housing, in which we're working with the Office of Temporary Assistance in the County of Morris. With employment, we're working with people in the community that will employ folks that maybe have an addiction and are fighting their addiction. And education. When we speak to the inmate population, education is the first thing that they speak about. Because they say, if you help me with my education, I can get a job and I can get a place to live. We have other programs here. In 2017, at the Morris County Sheriff's Office, we just spoke before about Hope One. Hope One is our mobile access vehicle. They're out on location today. We've had 210 operational hours since April 3rd where we've been in the community with a sheriff's officer, with a licensed clinician, and with a certified peer recovery specialist, a person that's walked the walk of addiction. And I'm very proud to say that we've had 1,300 contacts as of today. This is a new contact every 9 minutes. We've done 290 Narcan trainings. Narcan is the antidote to opioids. So we're in the community speaking to residents, and those residents are turning us to folks with addiction. And we're getting those folks sometimes right from the location we're at, and sometimes on the following day. to either detox, intensive outpatient, or recovery. My job as the Morris County Sheriff is not to take those that are addicted to jail, but to take them on the road to recovery. That's where we need to go. Some people could ask, why are we doing this? Well, the old idiom of lock them up and throw away the key has not worked in the past, and it will certainly not work in the future. Albert Einstein once said that we can't solve our problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. But a person that's close to my heart, I had lunch with yesterday, it's my mother. And my mother said, Jim, they have no one. You have to help them. And I think that's the sentiment of the people. We have repurposed available space. We have this beautiful infrastructure. We repurposed a wing there for the Hope Wing. We have to build a new facility. We can't do this without partnerships. You know, I'm very fortunate to have people that understand in county government the need for this. A gentleman that I deal with every day is John Bonani, our county administrator, that has a lot of background in this type of work and gets it. Our Board of Chosen Freeholders who are represented here today, our liaison to Human Services, our liaison to Law and Public Safety that you'll hear from, and freeholders at large that are just interested in this topic and looking to further it. Our stigma-free community can't do it without them. The old days of pointing down the block and saying, stay away from that guy, are over. This problem is in our families now. It's in our friends. It's in our neighborhoods. We all need to band together, and we are banding together to solve it. CARE, as you'll hear from Mellie Runyon, we partner with them since last August. Probably 350 people have made their way into treatment. Phenomenal organization that we partner with every day at all times of day. My staff at the Morris County Sheriff's Office, I don't get any better people than what we have here. From the corrections people to the law enforcement people to the programs people to the clergy. We have phenomenal folks that are standing up here and seated in the audience. You know, and I can't say enough about my Undersheriff Alan Robinson, who comes with a lot of expertise on the healthcare side and a lot of expertise on the security side. Our Warden Klein, who runs the day-to-day operations here to make certain that we're very safe here and can operate in these environments. So my hat's off to all of you. Programs people, you know what I think of you. On the drug counseling side, on the education programs, you guys do a phenomenal job. And Reverend Scott, on the spiritual side, some people wouldn't think that's important, and it's my belief that when you come here and you speak to the inmate population like I have for the last year, it's probably the most important thing, and you have reached the hearts of a lot of people in there, and you are making a difference. You know, I have Prosecutor Fred Knapp here, the Morris County Prosecutor, who came out early in my tenure when we met, and he called addiction a disease and did something about it, and has been a great partner on all the programs that we're doing here in Morris County, and I'm very appreciative of Prosecutor and your staff for all of that. Addiction's rampant in Morris County, in this facility. You know, the professionals here believe that over 50% of the population is addicted. So we could do the math and say 1,450 people that come in here this year will have addiction as the reason they're here. So I'm glad to be a small part of this mosaic to help these folks. I'd like at this time to introduce Kathy DeFillippo, who's our liaison to Human Services, and Tom Mastrangelo, who is our liaison to Law and Public Safety. You can come up and say a few words, please.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. And welcome. Welcome to our jail on behalf of the full Morris County Board of Chosen Freeholders. As the board's liaison to the Department of Human Services, I cannot stress enough the importance of Sheriff Gannon's continued efforts to deal with this very unfortunate opioid epidemic. Between his Hope One van and today his Hope Wing initiative. Thank you. Today's event is an important collaboration between the Sheriff's Office, the Department of Human Services, and Morris Cares, or as we know, the Center for Addiction, Recovery, Education, and Success. It has the backing of the Morris County Task Force on Opiates and the strongest support of your freeholders. I personally have had the opportunity to be a part of the Morris County Task Force on Opiates since its inception in 2014. This task force formed in response to a surge in prescription drug abuse and heroin use in New Jersey, including here in Morris County, where the drug overdose deaths surpass motor vehicle accidents as the leading cause of death. That's scary. Sadly, the numbers have continued to rise, as you heard this morning, so the task force has continued our efforts to educate, raise awareness, advocate, fight stigma, and bring our community together to address this problem. Unfortunately, these efforts don't always succeed. Many of our troubled residents end up here in the jail as a result of their addictions and in many cases because of their criminal activity. This is where Sheriff Gannon's program, which is being unveiled today, can make a difference. As the title for this new unit suggests, it can bring hope to inmates, to their families, to their friends who have hit rock bottom. So I thank you for being here today, and I'd like to introduce my colleague, Freeholder Tom Mastrangelo.
Thank you, Kathy, and good afternoon to each and every one of you. And as the board's liaison to law and public safety, I'd also like to, once again, like I just said, thank each and every one of you for attending this important event. Sheriff Gannon, Mellie Runyon, and others gathered here today are at the forefront of Morris County's battle against opiate abuse. They are working to stem the negative tide of this epidemic and to help lead affected individuals and their families to recovery. After all, as a stigma-free county, our goal is to eliminate the stigma of drug abuse and mental illness and foster and encourage recovery, whether you are out on the street or incarcerated in Morris County Jail. Sadly, ladies and gentlemen, there is no denying that prescription drug use is happening in our communities in all 39 towns within Morris County, and in many cases is leading to heroin abuse and heroin deaths right here in Morris County. Overdose deaths are occurring at an alarming rate, as you heard from the sheriff, and you heard from Freeholder DeFillippo. And no community is immune from this epidemic, so we cannot pass up the opportunity to reach out to these victims of this epidemic, whether they are in outpatient programs or in our jails. Sheriff Gannon is to be congratulated for his foresight in seeking to do more, not just to lock up drug offenders, but to employ the Hope Wing program to get at least some of the people on the road to productive lives. The sheriff has proposed a combination of counseling, education, and spiritual component, and also an understanding that post-incarceration housing and jobs and education and aftercare are vital to recovery. To help these inmates, these receptive inmates, may I add, back into to be productive citizens here in Morris County. It's a well thought out approach to help deal with this crisis, and another tool for Morris County to use in dealing with the addiction epidemic that is reaching out into our homes and into every neighborhood of our community and within our county. As Freeholder DeFillippo stated, when discussing the Morris County Opiate Task Force, it's a true collaboration effort and is needed in dealing with this issue. The coalition of human services providers, addictions, mental health professionals, law enforcement, prevention specialists, recovery specialists, family members, and others concerned residents. All must play a part in helping deal with this crisis. Now, I have to add to that, when in my travels throughout the county, I've come across families who have been affected by this, who lost their sons, who lost their daughters. We're talking high school kids, college kids, and you can only extend your condolences at that point. But there have been some who have been in the middle of their road of abuse, where I went to the sheriff and we've interceded, and we saved 1 or 2 lives. At least I believe we have so far, and gotten them into the whole program. Through interceding, I think we've done a good thing, and we've been able to help a few people. So the program with the Hope Band does work. The program that's going to be implemented here at the jail will work. I can tell you as a freeholder, and I will speak for every board member, that whatever we have to do to help fund these initiatives, we will stand behind solidly, firmly, and deal with this epidemic. So once again, I want to thank Sheriff Gannon for this initiative, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today, because your participation is just as important as everybody else's. So thank you so much, and thank you, Sheriff Gannon.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to introduce our Morris County Prosecutor, Frederic Knapp.
Thank you, everyone. When Sheriff Gannon invited me to come here today, I didn't anticipate that I'd be speaking, but I'm very glad to. The sheriff has really impressed me with his forward thinking and his efforts to help combat the heroin and opioid epidemic that's facing not just Morris County, but the entire state of New Jersey. We've partnered on numerous programs. We've spoken together. We've worked together. As recently as this past Monday at CARE's monthly breakfasts, where former Governor McGreevy spoke, gave an outstanding presentation on what he termed the scourge of the heroin and opioid epidemic, which is just devastating our state. This is something that I and the 20 other county prosecutors have focused on. And we all recognize, as does the governor and the attorney general, that you cannot arrest your way out of this problem. I know that is a trite saying, but it's absolutely true. In our office, we have focused on for-profit drug dealers, prosecuting them to the fullest extent of the law, prosecuting strict liability cases where heroin and opioids have led to the deaths of people, putting those people behind bars who are making a living out of distributing this poison to the people of not just Morris County, throughout the state of New Jersey. So I'm very proud to be here today and be a part of this event. Under Sheriff Robinson has been a tremendous help to us in supporting Narcan distribution here in Morris County. Warden Klein does a terrific job, and I know I'm very proud to be here today, standing here with the men and women of the Morris County Sheriff's Office. So thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Prosecutor. Judge DeMarzo. Would you be interested, please, in speaking? As our judge of the Superior Court.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't planning on speaking, but I'm Judge DeMarzo. I sit in Morris County. For the last 2.5 years, up until July, I was assigned to the drug court for Morris and Sussex County. And I want to commend the sheriff and all the people that are here in this great effort to continue to deal with the addicted individuals that are really the majority of our criminal cases that we're seeing are drug-related offenses. The drug court is a program which routes people, instead of sending them to state prison, puts them into a 5-year probationary program, and that is coupled with treatment. The treatment is free. If they graduate from the program, they are entitled to have their entire criminal record in New Jersey expunged. It is a fantastic program, but one of the things that we were missing here in Morris and Sussex County is sometimes the addicted individuals, they're not responding to the programs, the 6-month programs, the 28-day programs. They might be running from those sorts of programs. They need some sort of structure where they are not going to run while they are becoming educated on the recovery process. And failure is part of the recovery process. You know, people do relapse, but I think with this new wing at the jail, it's going to give us another tool to put individuals who are having a tough time with the recovery process into a lockdown facility, yet giving them all the benefits of treatment that would be at any other treatment facility. We only had one other program in New Jersey that we were sending people to. It was Bo Robinson. Bo Robinson really wasn't intended to be a recovery center. It was intended to screen people coming out on parole. We lost that ability. There's so many people coming up for parole. We had nothing. We had many people who were fleeing in need of this sort of facility. The sheriff, all the folks that work so hard in this facility, we had many discussions about it. I will say he's a man of action. He really put this together. I think that with this extra tool, it's going to help the court system in helping keep people alive, because every day that somebody is out on the street in a relapse, they are at risk of dying. Narcan is not the solution. It is a great tool. Thank goodness we have it. But the real solution is long-term, lifelong recovery. I commend the prosecutor. I think that it's a collaborative effort, you know, between the courts, the prosecution, the public defender's office. I think that the mentality of years ago, lock them up, anybody with drugs, you know, you go back 10 years ago, you got caught with heroin, you were going to state prison. Now we are really waking up to this problem has to be addressed with recovery. The expungement process that is being permitted in New Jersey, it's the only such program in the country where people are receiving a full expungement of their criminal record if they graduate from the drug court program. Why? It's to give them a fresh start. We have so many really good people with such a bad problem here that we're trying to deal with. So I was really happy to be part of the drug court program. Unfortunately, as part of being a judge, judges get rotated. I've been rotated out of the criminal division. I hope to return to it in a couple of years. While I was there, with the efforts of the prosecutor and the sheriff's department, we grew the drug court from 190 participants in Morris and Sussex County to almost 450 people. And that doesn't count the people who graduated, and that doesn't count the number of people that unfortunately sometimes do have to get sent to state prison because they're not ready for this, and sometimes that is unfortunately an option. We try to ferret out the people who are for-profit drug dealers, as the prosecutor indicated. Those individuals, if they are for-profit, generally do not do very well in our program. We try to set up an environment for success, not for failure. So, Sheriff, thank you very much for having me today. I know that all of our judges are very excited about the program. We look forward to working with all of you. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce Mellie Runyon from CARES. Phenomenal woman who we partner with every day, and she just delivers every day for us. So we're very appreciative for our relationship. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and Sheriff, thank you so much for having CARES be part of this amazing project, the Hope Wing, and we are so appreciative of really just the warm welcome that we have received from both the Sheriff and his staff, and that includes the officers as well as the program staff. CARES, the Center for Addiction Recovery, Education, and Success, engages the recovery community to help individuals find, maintain, and enhance their recovery from substance use addiction. We provide peer support, educational and volunteer opportunities, as well as sober recreation. CARES works to reduce the stigma associated with substance use addiction. Through doing that, we increase access to services, because what we find in running a recovery center is that so many individuals will not seek help because of the stigma around addiction. So many people think that addiction is a moral failing, and we are really working on a county level in this collaboration with both the Sheriff's Department, the Department of Human Services, our Prosecutor's Office, to change that, to make lives better for people. What we know about addiction as well is that it's a family disease, and so addiction isn't just about the individual, but it's about their family, friends, and loved ones. And we also seek to reduce the stigma associated for them too, because it's very difficult when we see parents who come in who are struggling, whether their loved one is 20 years old or 45 years old. At CARES, we envision a world where recovery from addiction is understood, embraced, and promoted. And we do that through the use of peer recovery specialists. We use individuals who are in recovery themselves. Their lived experience provides what so often someone needs, someone who has walked that walk, been in those shoes, and they relate on a level that someone who has not been in recovery really can't do. At CARES, we embrace 3 E's. What we call is we embrace people when they come in, we meet them where they are, we say, how can we help with your recovery today? We empower people, we help them to find their gifts and their talents. And what we see by doing that, by treating people just like they are, like people, not their addiction, not labeling them by their disease, we find that they change and evolve. And we have people who have come in who are homeless, who have, eventually, they stay sober while they're living in a car. I mean, can you imagine that? And then we help to link them to services so that they can live a different life. And so here, getting to be part of the reentry program for the Hope Wing, what we can do is we can link an individual to a certified peer recovery specialist while they're still here in the correctional facility. They have an opportunity to meet someone who they will continue a relationship with once they leave, and that is very powerful. What we see so often in the recovery center is people who have multiple incarcerations who didn't have that planning that was ready and necessary for them when they left. And I think that is what's being done here at the Hope Wing. They're giving skills that they will utilize once they go back into society, and our peer recovery specialists can then continue to work with them after they leave the facility. And so we are just so happy and proud to be a part of this program, and really do applaud the Morris County Sheriff and the Correctional Facility and the rest of the county who support this program. Thank you.
That's the end of our program. I'd be glad to take a few questions, and then we'll have, if you'd like, a controlled tour of the facility after this, so you can see the housing unit, the Hope Wing.
Sure. Just this morning, the township of Toms River engaged a national law firm to sue drug companies. Do you think it needs to go that far at this point?
I don't know. I don't know if it needs to go that far. I'd like to look at the facts on what their proofs are to do that. Prior to, obviously, opioids are needed, in medicine, but however, many times it goes from a broken bone to a broken tooth to a broken heart, So I think there are laws that have changed with regards to dispensing in the state of New Jersey. I think that's really good. No longer get a 30-day supply, get a 5-day supply, all those types of things. But I wouldn't be the first one to cast blame on pharma, big pharma. Any other questions?
Just to follow, how many beds are dedicated to this?
Our housing unit has 64 capacity. Yes, has a availability of 64 beds. That's right.
Has bail reform helped in being able to contact?
Bail reform, it's interesting, census numbers, and I have the specialist here, but census numbers haven't changed drastically from 2016 to 2017. Length of stay has changed drastically, but the people coming through the door are the same numbers. Coming through the door, fair to say? Any other questions? Okay, thank you all so much for coming. And I look forward to, if anybody wants to come inside, we'd be glad to show you around under certain conditions, obviously. And thank you. I'll be standing around here, and my staff will be if you have any further questions. Thank you. I know you'd like to sing the parade. You know, hopefully you noticed that when you come in here, Morris County is proud that we stick with grade, and we're not afraid of broadcasting that, because that's what we are. We all need to band together on this problem. We're all here because of that problem. You know, but I want to give a special shout out. You know, this facility runs every day. You know, as I said, we project there'll be 2,900 inmates coming and going this year. And, you know, sometimes it's the most difficult part of a person's life when they come through the door. I just did a little survey so you know who's in the facility. On the 22nd, I did a pulled survey with the warden. And 58% of the population was from Morris County. Then right after that, you had Essex County and Passaic County, and New York, and Detroit, Wisconsin, Morris County, New Jersey. So we're very sensitive to this facility. The security of this facility is paramount. I end every meeting on programs with the fact that the warden and the undersheriff knows we're joined at the head. But the warden's in charge. This is the gentleman, Chris Klein, who makes things happen. He does a phenomenal job in this facility from a security perspective and from a programs perspective. He's a fellow that worked the old jail. He knows where this agency came from. And I'd just like you to say a few words, put you on the spot. Say a few words about this correctional facility and program.
Without the leadership and dedication of the sheriff and all the staff here and everybody in the county, we do what we do here on a daily basis. The captains, the programs, everybody. You know, the jail runs the way it does because of them and because of everything the sheriff does as well. And, you know, I'd like to commend them on what they do on a daily basis because they're the ones that really make everything happen. So I want to thank you
all. Partnerships, you know, Jen, the Jen Carpentari for Human Services, we work with Jen very often and always looking for what happens next week. You know, we have, our population here is male only right now, right? And we're looking at introducing females into this too because we know that females are addicted here also. So we're working on that right now. Obviously we have to keep males and females separated, but Jen is a person we partner with, and in a half hour, boom, 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 things start to turn. And I applaud you and your staff, Jen, for all you've done to make this happen. Thank you. What questions do you have up here? You know, you see the officer on post, right? The officer on post is the most important person on post for us. Because if people are safe in this environment, then we're going to be in very good shape and able to do programs. So I'd like to applaud you for what you're doing here every day. We have a room here where, sort of like a classroom, where we can do work from the video side of the house, or spiritual work that's being done here, or educational work, and all the curriculum. We have 12 blocks of curriculum that occur during the week, and on the weekend we leave it to a reflection on the weekend and journaling. is what happens to give people a break. You know, there's a part of my non-clinical brain that says we need to do the 7 days, but the professionals say that you need to have a little rest period, and they get visitation from their folks and hopefully their loved ones. You know, part of our curriculum here, it deals with repairing family relationships. You know, some of these people have been here because they already stole Daddy's gun collection and Mommy's silver set. So they don't have the support necessarily at home. We may be their support while they're here, and hopefully we can hand them off to other programs, you know, when they leave here. Any comments anybody makes, any questions you have of the facility? You see the cleanliness of it. It's an orderly facility. That's real important to us. I think if it's a broken windows theory, if things are out of place and dirty and things like that, how do we expect people to take care of them for us? So we hold very strict, we have very strict guidelines on cleanliness and for disease too. This is a big cruise ship, right? So disease too and things like that. So we're always cleaning. Sanitation is one of the pillars of this community here, and that's the way it should be, you know, regardless of circumstances of people. What are the questions? Mr. Robinson. Hi, how are you? Alan, tell us about this.
Well, you know, this represents the paradigm shift in law enforcement from looking at drug addicts as criminals and more patients. It's a volunteer program. Our appeal counselors and educators have impressed upon me that the best opportunity for success for anyone in this program is someone who wants to be in this program. You know, and our job is to make it as appealing and attractive as we can, but at the same time, whoever decides to join the program, the expectation is to succeed. And everything is in place for them to succeed. And as the sheriff has pointed out, everybody here, and some of the people that are their commitment to this is trying to help these people get well. Why sit incarcerated and do nothing? To hope yourself not come back. We frankly don't want to see these people come back. We'd like to see them get jobs, we'd like to see them get a place to live, we'd like to see them finish their education. And that when you see these signs that say stigma free, that's the best example of stigma being right on.
Great, thanks, Alan. Sergeant Dominic Endico is on the ground every day from the inception. You know, Captain Jimmy Jansen started to look at other facilities and what was going on around some progressive facilities, and sort of keeps watchful oversight of this program too. But Sarge, you're here every day. You're here every day. Tell us about how it works, about pitching to some programs, folks.
You know, the main thing that when I was brought into this and working with our counselors and Jen and meeting so many people from other counties is that we can give them the tools, but they have to want to do it. And something that was a lot of people have said to me was, well, what if they don't want to? I believe we still want to get them in here because I think we can still get across with them. You know, they're going to get up every day at 8 o'clock. They're going to have their hour of free time to make their phone calls, to contact their lawyers. At 9 o'clock, their regiment's going to start. They're going to be in group sessions, individual sessions with their counselors, and they're going to go by that regimented schedule. They're not just going to be in that isolated criminal environment with the rest of the population. They're going to be removed from it. They're going to be with other inmates who do want to succeed, and we're going to try and give them the tools. And it starts here, and as the sheriff has said, that regimen and that constant tools that we're giving them will turn into them going on the outside of the jail, and they will be able to succeed. And they will be able to move on, and we'll be able to get them housing, employment, and continue with our outside agencies. I truly believe that it's going to work. It's turned me over, and it's turned me into a believer. And I have a lot of faith in all of our employees, our staff, as well as all the inmates who decided to make the move over here.
Great, thanks, Sergeant. So on programs, we talk about programs a little bit. As to, you know, we have 12 blocks of curriculum here. They have heard of how's it work from an addiction side, from an educational side. Give us a little ball for us here.
Sure. My name is Ken Palmisano. I'm the substance abuse counselor, and along with Joanna Cruzio, who's also a counselor and program coordinator. Yes, that's correct. What we do is, along also with help from Reverend Scott, is we come to missing anybody? And grading heralds of education. Correct. We all work together in bringing in group therapy. The inmate is requesting individual therapy. My particular role, I will work with any and all the inmates that are looking to get placed in the treatment programs. So I become kind of like a liaison between the inmate and the attorney or public defender and the programs, and helping them to get placed in the programs, doing their phone screenings, admission process. Sometimes I sit down with them for individual therapy. Sometimes I'm working to help them get Alcoholics Anonymous literature to them. That's something I would say that really was very pleasing to me, is that how helpful this facility has been. And like, oh, you need literature? Great. Let's get you ordering, and we've got it. So I have plenty of literature of whatever they're asking for to get to them, and there's been a really good response from the students. It's a privilege to be here to be part of this program.
Yeah, and my name is Joanna Puzio. I'm the program coordinator for this unit, and I would like to thank everybody. Like, this program works because of you guys from custody point of view. We have excellent sheriff, undersheriff, warden, and the rest of the law enforcement officials, and this program works because the inmates work it. So it's not even us implementing the change in them, it's them because they actually work it. It's a probation because they are active in the recovery. Thank you.
That's very good. Any other thoughts, any questions? Everybody understand it, Judge, from your perspective? I know you spoke outside.
I think the long-term goal, that we were talking about when I was still sitting, is a great one insofar as this is going to clearly evolve.
Yeah.
With more intense from education to hopefully treatment in the future here, and it's going to be, like I said outside, it's going to be a very valuable tool for Judge Wright, who's now assuming the drug court obligations of the court, to have some place to put not only our drug court people who are having some issues, but also, I know, Sheriff, you're so active, you're going to go into the general population, pull people out that maybe aren't making applications for drug court and start that educational process. So I cannot mention enough on that.
Hey, so everybody's aware, right? Our licensure does not allow treatment, right? You need a full change of licensure to do that. So what we're doing during 2017 with this rollout is collecting good metrics and looking at the current, our new direction curriculum, and then seeing how it evolves, and is there opportunity and need in the future for treatment? The numbers are pretty staggering to me, where if we have 2,900 inmates a year, and a conservative estimate is half are here because of their addiction, then maybe we should call it the Morris County Treatment and Correctional Facility, right? Maybe, right? And that would require a licensure change and everything like that. Commitment from a lot of parties. But I think that a lot of people are buzzing about this facility, and I think the future's bright with regards to where we're going and everything.
Sure. Go back. When I sit in drug court and I hear the inmates coming in, it's not like it was 5 years ago, where they're talking about how bad their experiences might be, because they're being held. They feel that there's hope. And that there's an opportunity for recovery and treatment. I agree with you. I think having a clean facility, it brings a lot of, most of the people that are really addicted have very low self-esteem. And they feel that nobody is really in their corner trying to help them. I think that the mindset, whereas drug court, the mentality used to be don't take it, it's set up for failure, it starts in this facility. It's facilitating an atmosphere that it works. And that they should really look into that and try to get themselves off of the narcotics. So, can't say enough. It's great.
Yes. I'm a little late. Can you just go over again the distinction between what this program will do and what actual treatment is?
Yeah. Something that'd be better served by treatment folks, right? And what we do as we went further down the lane on change of licensing, what we did was
certification would be the number of hours that of group didactic and individual sessions that each individual is mandated to do each week. In other words, it wouldn't be where they, for example, right now, an inmate will put in a request, drop a slip, so to speak, if they want to meet with one of the counselors to talk individually. In a state facilitated program, or under the state certification, there would be a minimum of 1 hour per week individual sessions. I think that just off the top of my head, we're coming pretty close to, if not exceeding, group and didactic hours, but in a long-term residential program, a 4 to 6 month program, the state says that each individual is supposed to have 23 hours of direct contact per week, including 9 hours, I beg your pardon, 7 hours of group therapy and a minimum of 3 hours of didactics of teaching lessons. So it would be the amount of direct contact time and the number of groups that they have.
That's good. Thank you. John Benani, I'd like to then Deborah. John has a human services background, so although he's the county administrator, he has a big heart in the human services side, so he's a great voice, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
It's pretty simple. Honestly, nothing happens without a visionary leader. And we thank a lot of people this morning, but we really need to thank the sheriff, because he's really the visionary leader that made this happen.
One of the things we didn't mention is the certification of this facility as a correctional facility being top-notch in the nation. And you, I have to commend you, you've made it better. When I say you, I mean the collective you, but this is a top-notch facility that has been enhanced further. And I really commend all of you, the work that you're doing. And just as we were talking about the excellence that we have in service, one life saved, what's the value of that? So every life that you save, every life that you turn around, is a miracle and it's marvelous.
That's right. Thanks. Thanks to all the staff here. I think we're good, right? Everybody good? I think that our population would like to get out probably soon and get back to work, right? So we can move out. I just want to say goodbye to them, and I'll follow.